Hello and welcome to the Philippines, and welcome to the continuing cost of living series. This is a 4 month average. I think it gives a better view of the overall expenses, averaging them out. This is up through August of 2018, and just for your information, my first 2 months here in 2015, I spent I think 2,500 the first month and a little over 2,000 US dollars the second month just getting set up, buying things that I needed. My rent presently is about 16,000 Philippine pesos. That's about 320 US dollars, based on 50 pesos to the US dollar. And I use 50 even though it's about 53 pesos to the dollar right now. Because money costs to transfer to exchange money, and I actually use PayPal to send my landlord in Australia the rent, and they give me a lower rate and a charge on top of that as well. So 50 is a nice even number to work with, and it's reasonably close to what it actually is. You can pay less and you can pay more. I have a studio apartment with a large, very large balcony, a garden unit, and that's what's cost me. I paid as little as 13,000 for an apartment and a condo, and I paid up around 22,000 for a one bedroom. Food is my next biggest expense. Groceries usually cost me around 200, and I usually spend in the past some months about 100 eating out, and it's been lower. I've been managing my grocery costs better, and for the last 4 months, my total has come down to about 259 US dollars. And partly because I buy in bulk, I buy, for instance, black rice in larger packages, oatmeals, different things that I buy. I freeze a lot of the vegetables that I buy, so they used to go to waste in my refrigerator or sitting out on the counter. So they're going a lot further. Yeah, I've just learned to eat better and buy better. Eating out could be anything from pizzas, burgers at the malls, out that type of thing. I have had couples tell me that they spend much less than me, and I have had people tell me that my food budget is the same as their drink budget. So you just work it out, whatever your lifestyle is. I think that's 300 a month, 250 to 300 a month is pretty reasonable depending on how big and how hungry you are. My electric bill averages 2,460 pesos. Sunny days I use more electric when I'm in the house all day long, or about 50 US dollars a month. A friend of mine spends about twice that much in about the same amount of space. A neighbor that I had for several months spends about 3 times that much in the same amount of space. Not used to not used to the warmer weather, and pretty much run the air constantly. So it has a big effect on your final bill. Kilowatt hours rate is about 13 pesos per kilowatt here where I'm at. Different islands are different. If they're getting geothermal electric, it might be lower. For instance, up in the hills up in Valencia above Dumaguete, I understand that they're hooked into a geothermal system, and it costs quite a bit less. Plus, they're up in elevation, so it's cooler. If you have a house, a larger house, and you're cooling it regularly, and you don't have shade, you're getting a lot of sun. Those walls heat up. Insulation is generally not used in the Philippines, and so those walls heat up and they hold that and they give that heat off on through the night. So you're going to want to invest in a little bit of insulation and try to get some shade on your walls, the direction that you're facing. I always try to face east. I get the morning sun. That does heat me up a little bit in the morning, but I don't get the afternoon hotter sun. So I don't have that hot, warm wall. The first place I stayed in actually at 10 p.m., even though I would not get any more sun about noon. Even at 10 p.m., that wall would still be very warm and giving off that heat through the night. So my electric went up substantially. Some islands and areas have much higher electric rates because of where they're getting their electric, how it's generated. Comody's Islands, which is just off of Cebu, are using an electric generator, diesel generator, and the rates are quite high. And I was told that my electric could even be higher than my rent, and I think the rent was probably going to be around 7,000-8,000 a month, pesos, that is. My internet and cable television package, plus I've added the data that I use on my phone occasionally as I travel. I put all those figures together. It cost me about 2,000 pesos a month, or about 40 US dollars. And I now have fiber cable, which is pretty fast, and a pretty good cable system, television system. So it costs a little bit more, and then as I need it, I put load credits on my phone, so I can use it for data as I'm out and about where I don't have Wi-Fi, and I've added all those amounts together. My costs for taxis, jeepneys, tricycles, hobble motorbike taxis went up substantially in the last 4 months. The big reason for that was I had a friend in town, and we were getting together regularly someplace meeting, and instead of walking, took a taxi to those get-togethers. So that was over a number of months, and so that went up to about 2,474 pesos, or about 49 US dollars. You can definitely get around for less than that, but that's what it was, and I used the convenience of the taxis more often than I had to. My cell phone load each month averaged 400 pesos, or 8 US dollars. I keep two now. I've got a dual SIM phone, so I have a SIM for Globe and a SIM for the Smart Company. Keep those two phone numbers active, and some places one has better coverage than the others, so that's the reason for that. And I'm on a prepaid plan where I just buy credits. I buy the little cards, and I put a certain amount of credit on it each month, and it's usually like 1 peso per text, for instance, and I think telephone calls are about 7 or 8 pesos per minute. Health-related costs came to 2,549 pesos average per month, or 51 US dollars. Most of that, a good part of that, was just over the counter. Anything from Advil, painkiller, allergy type medicines, stomach, like anti-acid type things. Some of that was vitamins. I have found a source or two for like Kirkland vitamins. I try to get my nutrition from food as best I can, but like every other day, I have been started taking a vitamin. Most of that type of thing comes from overseas. A lot of it comes from the USA. There's apparently a big tariff on it, and it's expensive here. So if you have your favorite over-the-counter drugs and vitamins, that type of thing, bring as much with you as you can. I did go to the doctor once over these last 4 months for like a sinus infection. The doctor visit cost me 700 pesos down at the very lower level of Ayala Mall, doctor's office down there. 700 pesos, 14 US dollars for that office call. There are doctors who will charge as little as 300 or 400 pesos per a visit, and specialists. I saw one pulmonary specialist who charged me, I think, 816 US dollars for a consultation. If you are going to travel overseas, you should put something in this category for your budget, because inevitably you will end up seeing a doctor or buying medicine over the counter someplace for something along your travels. Insurance is something very few include in their budget and their planning going overseas, but you really should think about it. PhilHealth in the last year raised their rates. It was really ridiculously low. PhilHealth is a government-sponsored healthcare system here in the Philippines, and they've raised the premium to about 17,000 pesos a year, about 340 US dollars, and that averages about 28 US dollars a month. Um, that they no longer cover the real major stuff for expats, but it's still a bargain at that price. I need to check into a few other insurance companies here and better coverage in the very near future as well. You can apply for PhilHealth after you've been here, after you get your ACR card, your alien certificate of registration, I believe, which you get after 60 days in the Philippines. And my understanding is that PhilHealth will often cover, don't hold me to this, 25 to 50% of a bill. Now, it really depends, like all insurances, depends on what the item is and what hospital you're in, that type of thing. Stuff costs me on average 1,041 pesos, or about 20 US dollars a month, and that includes anything that doesn't neatly fit under other categories. Could be a clock, a battery, um, a tool, screwdriver, screws, glue, little things like that. And a second key for my doors. Some of these new keys, they cost to make a new key. They're a special kind of key, and it cost me 500 pesos, $10 to get that key made. Immigration averages me 1,416 pesos, or $28 a month. I renew my tourist visa every 2 months generally. Once I did for 6 months, but it cost me 2,930 pesos for 2 months. So you break that down, and it's about $28 a month to do that. Now, if you overstay your visa, they're going to fine you, and so it's going to cost substantially more. So get in a week early, 1 to 2 weeks early to renew your visas. My average monthly entertainment bill, 1,890 pesos, or 38 US dollars. That does not include, would include things, movies, going out and having a few drinks, and would not include trips though. And it does not include the food I have when I'm out on those types of excursions. I've separated that into my regular eating and my eating when I'm being entertained. The last two items, laundry and water. Laundry cost me about 300 a month, 300 pesos, or $6. My water cost me a couple hundred, and that includes the shower water, the wash water, and the bottled water, which is only cost me 15 pesos, 30 US cents for 5 gallons once a week. So those are rather minor expenses. Sometimes your bottled water is more expensive. You can get distilled water, I think, for about 100 pesos for 5 gallons. So 100 pesos would be 2 US dollars. And now I'll give you the totals. So my total average costs for the last 4 months through August 2018, 51,800 pesos, or 1,036 US dollars, based on 50 pesos to the US dollar. Now it's actually just a little bit less expensive than that because our exchange rate is a little bit higher. I did not include a couple of costs I still have in the USA that are a bit unrelated, but they're costs indeed, and you will probably have some costs that continue in the USA as well. Life insurance, for instance, gifts to family members through the course of the year for Christmas and birthdays. I did not include those types of expenses. I did not include expenses for friends and girlfriends, different people's friends' birthdays, Christmas, holidays, those types of things here in the Philippines. And those things can range very widely depending upon who you are, what your budget is, but you need to budget those in. Thanks for watching. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and we'll see you next time.